Yes, so welcome aboard, Mr. Denimore.
Yes, thank you for inviting me on the boat.
Well, let's get the important stuff out of the way. Um, I understand that you're a bit of a relay fan.
I am a real ale fan. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do like a nice bit of beer. I'm not like a drinker,
No,
but I do like the old camera festivals or
that sort of stuff. Yeah.
proper. You know what I mean? Proper craft stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I used to work in that industry actually for the Firkin
Oh, did
Brewery.
you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was what's called an assistant brewer, or I'm the poor guy that digs out the mash tun at the end of the brew, that sort of thing, and rack the
Ah,
beer, that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah,
oh, nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you can, well as you know, then there is no such thing as just beer.
No, there certainly isn't. No, no, for sure, for
Uh,
sure. Yeah. So, did you so do you have a favourite then, relay, as it were, or do you just sort of?
Oh, it's difficult that because if I've learnt anything about ale, is you think you know ale, and then somebody makes another one, and then you taste it, you think, oh, that tastes different. Oh,
Yes.
um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
it's hard one that it's really hard because I'm quite lucky. I'm based in Manchester,
Hmm.
where we've got a lot of breweries, local breweries.
Oh,
So
nice,
they're
nice.
always trying to give you something to try. And I work in, I guess it was what was, or maybe it is considered the bohemian part of Manchester, but
All right.
called the Northern Quarter if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I have
So
actually. Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you got a lot of art shops and stuff, and that kind of thing. But you've also got these little microbreweries have their little outlets, if you like.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
pub, but it's not really a pub. It's more
I.
like a shop turned into a pub, I guess.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
brilliant place to try their ales, right? So of course they put the kegs out on the tabletop, and you can just try them all out.
Brilliant,
And they're like
brilliant.
really, we're talking like 7% strong stuff,
Oh, yes.
which
Yeah.
can taste great or can taste horrible depending on what your palate likes, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah. A lot of it actually is how long it's been left to ferment. Um, when I was sort of working in the industry, my boss was a Kiwi, and he was a rugby player as well. So as you can imagine, he used to drink a lot, and
yeah.
he used to like strong beers. And he made this Christmas ale, and that was
Oh.
10%, or
Oh.
maybe more. And in the end, because I was in a microbrewery as well, the landlord had to ban it because people were getting too drunk on it. Because
Yeah, I bet.
it was
Did you?
really smooth as well. It wasn't like Tenants Extra.
No, no. Like
It
a
was,
nice. Was it kind of sweet and hoppy as well, or
yeah,
was
it
it?
was, yeah. It was like I forget what he put in it. He called it mistletoe beer, and
Oh.
so yeah, it was really strong. Yeah, because it was about 9% when it went in to ferment, but it fermented for a year, so it's probably hitting
Oh, wow. Okay.
11%
Yeah.
when it was served. So yeah, that was a strong old pint. That was for sure.
Yeah, no, I do like them. I'm not about the strength. I don't tend to
No,
go
no,
for how
no.
strong they are. But for example, over Christmas, I did have some as a Christmas present. I had some bottles, which was a mixture of American and English ones.
Mm.
And there was a really nice one in there. I'm trying to think if I can remember what it was called now. I think it was the Double Hop Monster IPA. Who made that? It's some. Oh, it's Green King. You must be familiar with Green King.
Yeah, Green King. Yeah, yeah. It's a nice.
But yeah, they made one, which I was surprised because I mean, I made a horrible stereotype. Oh, Green King, big brewery, probably don't make real beer. Which I know is a horrible thing to say, but you know where I'm coming from,
I do.
right? So
Yeah,
I once had one called Roger and Out, where they would only allow me to have. You had to get stamped. You were only allowed to have a tiny drop. I'm guessing that was about 10%. But
if I'm in the pub and there's like a locally made IPA, I normally go for it because it's not
oh, definitely,
not bad.
we did that in Brighton. You know how they've got Lane's Brewery down there.
Oh yes, yeah.
And we
Oh,
we
yes.
went to a Lane's pub and we just basically every round tried a different one.
Nice.
But of course, you get so happy on those evenings, you forget the names of them, so you can never remember which one was the one you liked. But they
Yeah.
were pretty much all okay. So
Yeah. So Keith, I think I first met you on Halloween. Would sound about right?
you did, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
right,
Halloween
exactly right.
bash, wasn't it? I think. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I remember that. That was quite a good night, from what I remember. That's
it was a very good night. It was the first time I ever came over to Belly,
all right.
in a capacity where I met people. I'd seen it before.
Oh yes.
I was aware of it from sailing. You know, I knew the fact that someone had said, "Oh, they've connected all of the bits together."
Oh right.
So I came to have a look to see where the connection was between the Jugyit and Sansara, basically.
Yes.
And then, of course, as you will probably know, Belli wasn't the full Monty. I got it in. It wasn't the full Monty back then, so it was only like partially built.
Yes.
So it looked like half a thing, and then a load of water. And so I'd been past it, but that was it. I'd never actually been to it.
Right.
And I was involved on a project with North Cranach, who you're probably familiar with in the community group.
Yeah.
And he was saying, "Oh yeah, I live at Belli and I'm involved with the community, and it's a really wonderful place."
Right.
And of course, he'd said it a few times, and I kind of, said cool, but never really pursued it. But then he mentioned it again. We were just having a meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he started talking about Ent or something. I was like, this place sounds pretty cool. I've been in SL a while, and it's been a while since I've heard anyone speak with such excitement and sort of genuine jubilation, for something in SL that was a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of said, I'll have to come over and check it out with you. And he was like, well, we've got a Halloween bash tonight. I'm going over there now to help set up. I went over with him, and the rest's kind of history.
Got you. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I came to it because I was living in Sailors Cove South, which is south of the Black Sea. And I was talking to a neighbour, and they mentioned it. I'd never heard of it. And they said, "Oh, you should go and check it out. It's worth it to see all the houseboats." I had no clue what they were talking about. And so I did. And then I showed it to Molly. And then we did some digging, and we ended up really wanting to live here. And then the frustration set in trying to get a house.
Oh, you had to jump on the game of homes, eh?
We did, yeah. It was, as soon as I got one, I thought, I'm not abandoning it. I don't care if it's looking over a rubbish tip. It's staying. I'm keeping it.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So, especially around May time as well. So everybody wanted one. It was,
it was much harder in those days, I imagine, because there really wasn't that much to choose from, was there?
No, there wasn't. No. And everyone was like spamming the forums and stuff, and using that technique which caused the denial of server attack.
Oh God, yeah. I just on the subject. I used to live in Sailors Cove as well.
Did you? Oh right.
I did. I can't think of the name of the region. You see where I nearly went there. But there was a racing line right outside the front of it. Might have been cool.
Well, I think I know where that is actually. Yeah.
It's like a little bit of there's like a cross, not a cross roads, but a cross waterway, and then you go down to the railing. I was literally on that one there on the right hand side. It was an expensive place to live, but a nice place to live.
Yes, yeah. It's both, yeah. I was a bit further south than that. There's a big mountain and a small airstrip.
Oh yes, I know that. Yeah.
Basically opposite the mountain. So.
Used to fly my little plane there.
Yeah. You might have crashed it into my house, Keith.
I probably did. I'll apologise now.
Your Napoleon look is quite famous, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's become a bit of an iconic, I would say, in Belli. Are you planning to hang on to it? I've seen you with clothes now for like almost 2 months.
Well, as you can see, I'm in it again. It's bizarre, because I never really had a look. Anyone who's known me for a long time in real life or Second Life would know that I'm a bit lazy when it comes to my look. It's like I'm a typical geek. I don't really. I mean, when I was a teenager, I used to go to Next and Top Man and all that stuff. Yeah. But as you get older, you tend to, let go of that a little bit, or a lot, depending on how you look at it. But I just like to be casual, So, I just dressing myself in Second Life is an absolute nightmare. I don't really want to have to keep doing it. Now, you could argue all these new tools we have, in the viewers, where we've got wearable object, you can just make an outfit now. You don't have to, but even that for me is, a bit of a chore. Yeah. So I didn't really I used to wear clothes, but, I'd wear them and I'd wear the same clothes for like a year. Right. And people would be like, "You're going to get changed." and I'd be like, "Well, I'm quite comfy how I am, but anyway, trying to take a very long story short, when I started sailing, when I discovered sailing, I just felt a little overdressed, believe it or not. That's how this first came about. I was going past people with the top off, as you probably would in a hot place, on a boat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I was like, well, I suppose perhaps I should take my top off. So I did. But then I looked a bit stupid just in my jeans. So then I was like, well, I suppose I should get some shorts as well. Got the shorts. And at that time, I was, imagine me without the hat. It was just me in shorts sailing about.
Right, yes.
The hat
That's
came
nice,
about.
looks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, just a standard sailor look, I suppose. And then I discovered the GTFO game, which I started playing. And because I was sort of almost captaining a boat, if you like, to deliver goods from one place to another, I thought I need to look like a captain. But then I thought, well, maybe a bit more piratey. So I got the captain's hat, you see, and it's a bit of both, isn't it? It's a bit of, like you say, a bit of Napoleon. That was a bit of genius by Moon, by the way.
It was.
But a bit of Napoleon, because I'd never thought of it that way.
No.
But also anything,
Yeah.
So that's the story behind it. It kind of an accident, really, like most things in my world. All happen by accident, usually.
Yeah. It sounds like it was an evolution almost.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it kind of happened over time, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I've got to say, it's probably the most famous looking Bellersaria, I would say. Nobody's...
Which is bizarre, because I don't exactly consider myself to be anything of a trendsetter. So that's weird all in itself, to be honest. But
Well, I think the problem is now, Keith, like if, for example, I adopted your look, I'd obviously be like someone copying you, you see, rather than an innovator of fashion like yourself.
Innovator. Can't be bothered to dress a vator, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, I guess, isn't it, really?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?